Yo, it's Guido coming at you with a continuation of the best of series. So we got through Tier 8 a couple weeks back, I think, before I went on vacation or right before vacation. And we're back at it now. I'm headed out for Tier 9. And we're going to start with artillery because the artillery happens to be, I was about to say the least controversial, but that may not be true. It's controversial for its own reasons. But I think the choice of what the number one tank is going to be or SPG is going to be is probably not controversial. But hey, you know what? This community is awesome. They always have an opinion, so who knows? Who knows? I really just gave it away, my friends. Here it is, the 53-55. Let's look at it by the numbers, though. Then we'll take a quick look at how I have my setup. I played a couple games, and we'll do a quick run-through on a gameplay. I think I'm going to change gears a little bit. I'm not going to do it real time because I want to show you a good game and not a potato game. And that way it makes me look better. That's the whole plan. I might do the real time. I don't know. I sat down this morning and I said, I need to get back started on the best of series. Let me play the 53-55 a couple times. I had a game that kind of illustrates its capabilities. I played two of them. One was okay, wasn't really a potato, and one was a decent game. So let's take a look at it by the numbers. Alrighty then. The dog was barking. Mocha had something to say. What is that going on with that hair right now? All right. Getting wispy old guy hair. It kind of sucks, actually. Forehead, that's a 5 head. Look at this. It's all 5 fingers. Anyway, where was I? Oh, the numbers. Let's take a look at it. I'm calling it for the 53-55. We'll just start off with win 8. Obviously, you know, all the caveats, man. I don't know if I can say this enough because every time I do something like this, somebody says something about an issue that I actually talked about, which is... It's awesome. Whatever. Say what you want down there. Bring up your points, even if I cover it. Especially if I cover it, all right? I'm looking for you to bring up all the points that I cover. As if I didn't cover them. That's how we want to do it. Stop doing that. Why does... I hate that. Oh, my gosh. Anyway. This is difficult, guys. It shouldn't be this difficult. Win 8 is individual to tanks, but it is cranking out the best win 8. Questionable in terms of comparing it to other tanks, but you know, it's a number we can look at. Battles wise, good golly Miss Molly. 1, 2, 3, more than 4 times the next one that's played. So voting with your feet, as in what do people play? 53-55. Win rate. Okay, it's number 2. So it looks like the 55, the Bat Chat 155-55 sneaks by it just a little bit. DPG, number 2. 212 makes an appearance. Frags, number 2. Damage ratio, number 1. Kill to death, number 2. Survival, number 1. Spots, 55. 155-55 makes it. All right, so why am I nicking the 3805? Because it drops down to number 3 on win rate. Drops down to number 3 on win rate. DPG sneaks above it, so there's a 1, there's a 1. There's a 2, swapping spaces. There's a 1. And it on survival drops down to 3rd and spots. All right. Down to 5th. It's a close run thing. I think there's an argument potentially for the 212 lovers out there that it might sneak in there a little bit. But I'm calling it for the 53-55. What I will say about the 3805, and there are some videos on this, I don't know, last month, the 3805 can do some of the alliance missions for the Chimera and for the 279 early. So take a look at those videos. There's some good information because you can actually down gun that thing, and it's pretty awesome. But the 53-55 I think has been the king of the Tier 9 SPGs for quite a long time, and I would say that it retains that title. Let's take a look at how I have mine set up. All right, I have a little bit of tryhard going on in here. The game you're going to see is running Vents, Rammer, GLD. I am not running the directive in the game I'm going to show you for the Rammer. I added that on later as I was looking at a few things. I am running Cola. I have small kits. I probably should be running large kits, actually, because I have so many of them. It doesn't really matter. And I don't really play the tank very much. I have 16 of the high explosive with stun, only 2 without it, and 2 AP. I have found, this is my opinion only, I have found the regular HE rounds are horrible for the way the game is played currently. I much prefer the stun rounds. Obviously, if you hit with the high HE rounds, They do considerably more damage than the stun rounds do, which is nice, in theory anyway. The penetration is 52 on this, and it's 65 on the HE shell. But I find that the stun and the experience and things you get for damage after stun by your allies helps out better in terms of experience. And I think cash, but I'm not 100% sure that credits matter with something like that. I think there's a larger question as to whether that really helps your team. I believe it does in a support aspect when the enemy tanks are stunned and people can pop out and get shots. I do use that myself when I'm playing tanks. If a tank is stunned, I will consider that in my advantage on a poke. So I will take that into consideration, that maybe their dispersion is bigger and I will have a less risky poke as I come out there. Easier to push them potentially as they are slow and can't turn. There's a lot of little nuanced things that go on with the stun. So I do tend to run more of the stun rounds. Let me know what you think down below, what you do in that situation. AP is just super hard to hit with. I don't use it very much. It's okay in a shotgun situation. So that's the way I've got mine set up. You can see my crew is actually pretty good. They have 4 skills, or 3 skills, working on their 4th for each one of them. I did re-wicker my loaders. I noticed after I played the games, this is also something I did not have in this match that I'm going to show you, but I do now. I changed it so that both my loaders have intuition, so I can swap rounds much easier in case I do want to go to one of those HE or to the AP. I do recommend that for the long reload tanks, so you can be a little more choosy on your rounds in case you have an opportunity to use something different. And because there's 2 loaders, in order to get the full intuition swap, i.e. the lowest amount of time, you have to have both guys at 100%. And then I've got Adrenaline Rush, so that if I do get down to low hit points, maybe I get reloaded a little bit sooner and get an extra shot off. Whatever, it's the loader skills. There's not much there. You might prioritize your camo over that in this case and take 100% camo and then start working on Adrenaline Rush or whatever, but a couple other ways to do it. And there you have it. That is how I've got it set up. Let's take a look at a game. Alrighty, my friends, here we are on Himmel's Fisherman's Bay Dorf. I'm going to go back here. I kind of like this central position early on in artillery. There's a lot of decent places on this map. I know the way I scroll over irritates people, but that's just how I do it. Get over it. So I'm going to aim in. You'll notice that this tank has a fairly decent reload. I didn't actually look at the stats, but it's in the 30-second regime or so. That's relatively quick. Not too bad. Has a pretty hard-hitting gun. As you can see, a decent dispersion right there. So we'll just follow this guy. We'll lead fire, let it zoom in a bit, and kind of aim for where he's going to be and get a few, whole 29 hit points. But we got him stunned. And you're hoping for a track or something. Get some assistance out of that, all that good stuff. Another shell goes in. He's going to push up over there on the west side, and once he tucks up under that edge or that ledge, it's very difficult. As you can see, I don't have a green line to it. It's kind of difficult to see. So we see the IS-7 move in. We'll kind of move forward. We're taking a look. We'll just pause this for a second. I'm just watching how much of my dispersion circle is up on top of the ledge, because obviously that ledge is causing me issues right there. So if I hit up here, I'm not going to hit the IS-7. So I'm just trying to find a nice spot. I'm trying to get reloaded, get a little lead fire, find a little bit more clearer area, and we'll just pop that one off. And we'll move out. He's gone dark, so I don't know if I hit him, but I think I did. I am shifting a little bit in case somebody is trying to do counter battery. I do that. Probably not shifting quite enough. If you noticed, I didn't really move that far. If you don't move too far, sometimes they get a shot to the edge of their dispersion and hit you anyway, even though you've moved a little bit. So we're kind of watching for the IS-7. And, you know, this is already gameplay. This is what it's all about. It's much slower, not a whole lot going on. I'm really hoping I can tag this guy. I was bumming. I was sort of hoping somebody would track him. And unfortunately, I do not have a shot. I see the tortoise on the mini-map that he's out in the open. I know they're not very fast. So we'll let that zoom in. I also note that a shell just went by right to the left of the tortoise. So we thump him for a whole 123. You could use G. I think I will use that view a couple times here. I tend to use the top down a lot more. Gives me a little bit better idea, at least in my opinion, of what is going on around the tank. But it does have its utility for zooming in or pointing exactly at what you want to hit. So now we get a couple guys here together, and I would like to get a double tap. I'm trying to find a way to get right in between both these, but Unfortunately, if I was loaded, I might have got that shot off right there, but they're going to move away from each other here in a moment, which is a bit of a bummer. So I'm just trying to fight through this and get a shot. And the IS-7 backs up, so we'll shoot it there. So I actually aimed a little bit long because I knew that as he backed into it, that shell would then be a little higher and potentially hit him, which it did. All right, I'm repositioned. This is one of the strengths of the 53-55. I selected that central point. I moved a bit as I was taking shots. I noticed because artillery has a much better time, or a lot more time, to kind of pay attention to the mini-map. It really is your bread and butter with artillery. You can see the basic flow of the battle a little better oftentimes in artillery because you're paying attention to all of the little things you can shoot that you can click on, and clearly I've noticed the west side is not doing so good. We do have some tanks up here holding it. I want to support them, but I don't want to get spotted. Look how close the ring is, the white ring here. Just one of these mediums or even the IS-7 or somebody comes up in this area and I take a shot and my bush camo goes away and all of a sudden I am seen, and then it's over for the 53-55 artillery. So we'll just bugger out of there and head down this way. Plenty of screen to my south. My whole team more or less is hanging out in the bottom of the city, so I'll take this nice little position and we'll start looking at getting shots. That was very tasty. I was really hoping the 4005 would sit there. Remember, with artillery, it's the soft tanks you can do the most damage to. So you got to kind of prioritize who am I going to hit. I shoot at the IS-7 because I'd like to start shredding pieces or peeling the onion back on the IS-7. He's the toughest tank over there, and I would like to help my team kill that guy off, right? We want to get rid of that armor. I'm kind of looking, so now I've decided in between shots, this is something that I do quite a bit and I haven't done on this game until right now. During the reload, until about 15 seconds before you're ready to shoot, I will look for other artillery, and I may or may not take a counter battery shot. I'm more or less trying to find out where they are, so if I can pinpoint it and I can notice that maybe they're not moving, then maybe later on in the game I might try a counter battery shot on them, okay? Or there's not a lot going on in the game. It's a bit of a stalemate. Nobody's really lit. There's no good shots. I may take that shot on a counter battery. Right now I'm just looking for SA. So here's that IS-7 again. I'm kind of prioritizing this poor guy. He's bumming. And now I'm thinking, all right, maybe I can get a couple of these guys. There's several of them together, so we'll just lob a shot in there. Looks like I got 403 on the 430. I think some damage comes up on the tortoise here in a minute. There's some damage after stun, so I got that as well. And I'm back down to the southwest, taking a look at where the arty is. There's actually two of them in here. We'll find out later on in the game. Now, notice that unfortunately, the number's not there. It's a replay bug that happens, but somewhere around 10 to 15 seconds. Why? Because I want to get the cursor back over there and get zoomed in and ready right as I'm reloaded, or as close to that as possible. So we have the Progetto kind of beating that guy up, and then I'm like, all right, maybe I can shut down the IS-7. Let's try to get rid of him out of the game. Oh, there we go. Little herky-jerky. And we're going to try to kill him. Doesn't quite happen, but look at that. There it is. So I got 396 damage after stun. The tortoise was apparently close enough to the IS-7 that I got him stunned. And I don't know if I completely missed the IS-7 or didn't do damage or what, but it didn't register. Could have been. Now see, looking at where those two are and the angle, right, and plus they're higher than I am, it's going to start to flatten out the arc a little bit. More than likely what happened right there is the tortoise was in front of the IS and I nailed him. Or the shell landed close enough to him. You know, you can see that actually up here. There's a couple artillery divots here where things have gone in. So something goofy like that happened. There goes the IS-7. Now he's no longer a problem. The Leopard is a nice soft target. The problem with most soft targets, not all but some, is they tend to be fast and more difficult to hit. Things like a WT or a RHM or one of the glass cannon TDs are a bit slower, but mediums that are quick and light like that, lightly armored, tend to be fast, and they're harder to hit as people rock back and forth and move. I look at him for a second, and based on where he is and how long my reload is, I feel like there's no reason to sit there. He's either going to die or crawl back before I get reloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and shift my aim somewhere else more useful. Obviously, I have a bunch of time left. Right now, I'm not paying a whole lot of attention to the artillery for counter battery. The reason I'm not doing that right now is it's turning into a romple stomp, and I just want to be watching and get ready for shots. Now I notice both those guys have gone dark, and I say, screw it. Let's go over here and start helping the guys in the town. This is where I'm going to use the G view. So I hit G, and I get that kind of view right there, because this is a little bit easier to get shots on a guy that's doing this. I'm just trying to get this thing here. Back up, and there we go. All right, and we had the little green dude right on his rooftop. We take that shot, and we thump him for 368. A little move, just in case. All right, that's all that goofiness. Sorry, I hope nobody threw up right there. I need to look at the settings, because there is a way to tell it when you go to artillery view to always be in one view or the other. And I could have swore I did that in the setting. What I want it to do is go top down. Even if I'm in G view, if I come back to the tank, when I go back to artillery view, I want it to be in the top down and not the G view. But it looks like for some reason it's either reset it or I set it incorrectly somehow right there. So I noticed that guy. I'm on a read. I'm going to back up a little bit here. Maybe get a little better angle if I can. Thinking about shooting this dude, and he gets nuked by the 7201, so no longer we're shooting. Let's go over here and try to help these guys. All right, there we go. We got a CS-59. Starting to zoom in. See if we can get a shot on this guy potentially. And we do. Somebody thumps him afterwards for another 529, and he ends up dying. So there's an example, potentially, of the stun having effect. Maybe they hit him anyway, but if he's stunned, he's going to be moving a little bit slower, all that good stuff. And in any event, I get the credit for 529 damage after stun. All right, see the leopard moving around. Again, soft target. This is where I'm looking for that big payoff. In case I can hit this dude, I can get a nice big... There goes another shot out. And I should have stuck with the leopard and maybe tried to get that shot on him. What I don't want to do with an artillery is what I just did there. I'm loaded. I kind of had a shot. It wasn't a bad shot. And then I changed my mind, and now I'm back over here, and I've been loaded this whole time. That's not what you want to do. You want to get as many rounds downrange as possible. They need to be good shots. They don't have to be amazing. And now I get the bloodlust on another arty, which is always fun. I kind of figured he'd blow up. Somebody hits him, I just take a stab at it. It wasn't fully zoomed, but we're going to end up getting the kill. Doink. So somebody didn't have a shot, or they missed, or whatever. And this is pretty much over. I don't think I actually get another shot in here. I'm sort of looking potentially for the other arty. There he is. He was sitting right there. And that checks with the various shots I saw going out right there, and he's going to die before I can do anything. We'll take a look at the cards after I have a little bit more, I think, damage than that shows. So this shows 1,118. Remember, a lot of times you'll get blind shots with artillery. Let me throw this out for you artillery players. Remember that the shots on dark tanks, I call them blind, but they're dark, right? They're not spotted, but you hit them. You get all the experience for that. I think there's a small time frame where the spotter might share in some of that, but if it's long enough, you're getting the full experience for that, and you're not sharing it with anybody, which is nice. Right there. And that's pretty much it for the gameplay. It's a more versatile tank. We didn't talk too much about it, but the tank does have that kind of 1/3 turret, which helps out. It has a very wide field of regard. You can see the cone here on the mini-map is quite wide. From this corner, I'm covering a significant portion of the map. So as I move my cursor around, I will get bloom on the dispersion circle from the turret moving, but it won't be as much as if I turned the whole hole. All right, so that's one of the great benefits of the 53-55, just this really wide field of regard, all the way from here, all the way over to here, and my bloom will expand, but it won't be massive. Not as massive as if I turned the whole hole. So there you go, gameplay. Let's wrap this up for the 53-55. Well, all right, that's it. Let's take a quick look at some of the stats over here as far as the way mine is set up. We have rate of fire is 1.87. The loading is 32.16 seconds. -5, well, depression doesn't really matter on that. Aiming time is 4 seconds, 4.14 seconds, and the dispersion at 100 is 0.66. Gives me a 1,679 average damage. So that's what you're going to get out of the particular setup that I've got right there. Artillery sitting on the beach, man. That's it. That's what I've got. I'm calling it for the M5355, the best Tier 9 artillery. Let me know what you think down below. That is all I've got for today. We will see ya.